Daily Words of God. The first step of the Holy Spirit's path in man is, before anything else, to draw man's heart away from people, events, and things, and into the words of God, causing man's heart to believe that the words of God are beyond all doubt and completely true. If you believe in God, you must believe in His words. If, after many years of faith in God, you remain unaware of the path taken by the Holy Spirit, are you really a believer? To achieve a normal human life that has a normal relationship with God, you must first believe in His words. If you have not achieved the first step of the Holy Spirit's work in people, then you have no foundation. If even the very least of principles is beyond you, how will you walk the path ahead? Setting foot upon the right track by which God perfects man means entering upon the right track of the Holy Spirit's current work. It means setting foot upon the path taken by the Holy Spirit. Right now, the path taken by the Holy Spirit is the current words of God. As such, if people are to set foot upon the path of the Holy Spirit, they must obey and eat and drink the current words of God incarnate. The work He does is the work of words. Everything begins from His words, and all is built upon His words, upon His current words. Whether being certain about the incarnate God or knowing the incarnate God, each requires spending more effort on His words. If not, people can accomplish nothing and will be left with nothing. Only by building upon the foundation of eating and drinking God's words, and thereby coming to know Him and to satisfy Him, can people gradually build a normal relationship with God. For man, there is no better cooperation with God than eating and drinking His words and putting them into practice. Through such practice, they are best able to stand firm in their testimony of God's people. When people understand and are able to obey the essence of God's current words, they live on the path of being guided by the Holy Spirit and have set foot on the right track of God's perfection of man. Previously, people could gain God's work simply by seeking God's grace or by seeking peace and joy. But things are different now. Without the words of the incarnate God, without the reality of His words, people cannot gain God's approval and will all be eliminated by God. To achieve a normal spiritual life, people should first eat and drink God's words and put them into practice, and then, upon this foundation, establish a normal relationship with God. How do you cooperate? How do you stand firm in the testimony of God's people? How do you build a normal relationship with God? How to see if you have a normal relationship with God in your daily life. 1. Do you believe God's own testimony? 2. Do you believe in your heart that God's words are true and infallible? 3. Are you someone who puts His words into practice? 4. Are you faithful to His commission? What do you do in order to be faithful to His commission? 5. Is everything that you do for the sake of satisfying God and being faithful to Him? By means of the items listed above, you may take stock of whether you have a normal relationship with God in the present stage. if you are able to accept God's commission, to accept His promise, and to follow the path of the Holy Spirit, then you are following God's will. Inside, is the path of the Holy Spirit clear to you? Right now, do you act in accordance with the path of the Holy Spirit? Does your heart draw close to God? Do you wish to keep pace with the newest light of the Holy Spirit? Do you wish to be gained by God? Do you wish to become a manifestation of God's glory on earth? Do you have the resolution to attain what God requires of you? If, when the words of God are spoken, there is, within you, the resolution to cooperate and the resolution to satisfy God, if this is your mentality, it means that God's words have borne fruit in your heart. If you lack such resolution, if you have no goals that you pursue, it means that your heart has not been moved by God.